Hey guys, this week's video is dedicated to the complete recovery of Masha Bas Batsheva. First off, a huge mazel tov to YJP alumni Ian and Jessica on their marriage this past week in Denver. May you have much bracha and atzlacha, much blessing and success as you establish your new home. This week's Torah portion, Parsha Lech Lecha, there's a lot going on. You have Abraham and Sarah traveling to a new home, the land of Canaan, and all the challenges that they face throughout the Torah portion are quite amazing. And there's one instance where you have the 4 kings and the 5 kings, kind of the civil war, and one side kidnaps Lot, who is Abraham's nephew. And Abraham helps the underdogs win the war and rescues his nephew. And God blesses Abraham and says, "Fear not, Abraham, for I am your shield." It seems like a very straightforward blessing. God is saying, "I am your shield, Abraham, I will protect you." In fact, we say this 3 times a day in our own prayers. In the Amidah, in the silent Amidah, we say, Baruch atah Hashem, Magen Avram, blessed are you, God, shield of Abraham. But the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, reads it very differently. He doesn't read it shield of Abraham. He reads it shield us from Abraham. What does that even mean? And in fact, he reads the blessing that God was giving Abraham was that God was going to shield Abraham from himself. That's a very odd thing. What does that mean? Abraham was such an amazing person. Why do we have to be shielded from Abraham? Why does Abraham have to be shielded from himself? In Jewish mysticism, Abraham is the paradigm and embodied the virtue of chesed, of kindness, unhindered, unbridled kindness. He was accepting and tolerant of everything. In fact, this manifested itself in the famous 4-sided tent. Everyone he met was welcome. He was accepting of everything and all. His son Yitzchak represented the virtue of gvura, of discipline. Now, kindness in and of itself is an amazing attribute, but totally unhindered kindness can lead to somebody like Yishmael, Abraham's other son, who was morally corrupt. You see, because when you become tolerant of everything, you also start becoming tolerant and accepting of things that are unacceptable, of behavior that is unacceptable. It's very noble to say, I want to accept everything and all, but it's short-sighted. Because in the long run, people will start viewing that allowance as endorsement, that you endorse this behavior. First, other people will think that of you, and then you'll start actually thinking that of yourself. And therefore, God had to bless Abraham with this shield. I'm going to protect you, to give you the wisdom. He had to tell him that Yishmael's actions were unacceptable, and to give him the wisdom to know when discipline is needed. That kindness, unbridled and unhindered, sometimes also needs a little dose, a little sprinkling of discipline to stand up for what is correct. And we ask God for the same blessing, to give us that knowledge and wisdom to understand that unconditional love does not mean unconditional acceptance, and the realization and the strength to stand up for what is moral and what is true. Shabbat Shalom.